Hey guys, Missing Pixel here. Today, I am back looking at Team 6 games with Pizza Dude. I have skipped a few games, don't worry, I will get back to them for the next episodes. I am looking at Pizza Dude today because, well, long story short, I had to go back to Windows, OBS just wasn't cooperating with me on Linux, and I was using Pizza Dude to test out OBS, so I have a lot of things to say about it, so let's get started. While we are in the menu, I need to point out something instantly, and that is the nonsensical button mapping. Jump is end? Why not space? Not only that, end wasn't even mapped correctly, and on Windows, the mapping was completely different, with the number pad 1 key being jump, which is even more useless on my 10 keyless keyboard. On the main menu, we can see Pizza Dude, real name Kevin, and Kimberly, also known internally as Pizza Girl, as well as a dog that's not actually theirs, but is found in certain locations. We can also see a window that is obviously a screenshot mapped onto a flat 3D object, hey, been there too. When we select a new game, we get to pick Kevin or Kimberly. However, they don't actually seem to be mentioned by name in-game, everything is always centered around Pizza Dude. He even gets his own beverages and sauce, it's weird. Anyway, the story is this. Uncle Francesco left Kevin and Kimberly because he cannot pay his bills anymore. Their poor uncle is ashamed of himself. There's only one chance to get their fat Uncle Francesco back. Earn loads of money within 24 hours with the pizza restaurant. This is not mentioned in the game, again, and instead, in-game we have a cutscene with the text, "This is where the pizza takeaway restaurant resides." Let's have a look inside. What is that noise? Ah, it's the telephone. Press enter to accept the call and prepare the ingredients. When you prepare the pizza, it is time to deliver it to your client. Find the shortest route to the client, deliver the food, and come back to your own restaurant. Pizza Dude as a concept is weird. First of all, the delivery driver would obviously not be making the food himself, as that would be a massive waste of time, having to go back and forth between making the pizza and delivering it. Secondly, games usually let you do things that you'd not be able to do in real life. We know this from Devil X Overflow, how London Racer gives you the thrill of speeding, escaping from cops, and racing others around real life cities. With pizza delivery, well, I'm sure Domino's or Pizza Hut is hiring, there's a staff shortage currently. Be your own Pizza Dude, fellas. In all fairness though, this is adult me speaking. 13-year-old me obviously didn't think this way, most kids wouldn't. As explained by the game, you must pick up the phone, which in turn will tell you which ingredients to choose. This is as simple as standing next to the item, hitting enter, and waiting for a second long animation. Sometimes serious, sometimes goofy. Sometimes enter doesn't work and you have to stand in a specific spot for it to work. You don't even need to put the pizza into the oven or put it into a box. I don't mind this, I suppose, but there was extra potential here that wasn't utilized. And speaking of the oven, what is that fire? In fact, most of the texture work and modeling in this game is weird. I'll get onto that in just a second. With this part, you have an infinite amount of time. However, you want to be out of the door as soon as you hit enter on the last ingredient, as soon as you have to drive, the clock counts down, so you don't want to be sticking around in the restaurant. The main difference between the two characters are vehicles they drive. Kim drives a scooter, while Kevin rides a quad. The problem with the scooter is that it's far less stable, and Kim will fall if she literally hits anything. And half the time, if you fall, you lose so much time, it's essentially game over. The game has a set of predetermined locations that you need to deliver the pizza to. You know how computers can never truly be random because they need to be coded to be random? Yeah, Pizza Dude is the least random game. Per system installation, the game kept driving me to the same locations over and over. I played this game for half an hour and I got the same 3 or 4 locations, which means I wasn't able to show you guys the basketball court or breaking into a hotel, as the game did not give me those missions for the entire playthrough. Because of this randomness, it means that the difficulty level is completely random. My first ever playthrough on Windows gave me this parkour stage at the docks, which I obviously failed. And yet, the second time round I got an easy residential area. In order to get out of your vehicle, you need to stop completely, which I guess makes sense, this isn't GTA, you can't just bail out of your scooter. But it does mean you have to either hit space for the handbrake, or make sure that you brake early not to lose time. There's also boost mode where you do a wheelie, but this is where you will likely fall, unless you spam control. I believe this is the first and maybe even last Team 6 game where you get to control a human character, and as to be expected, it is extremely janky. Sometimes your character gets stuck on steps, sometimes they clip through cars or themselves, and oh god, look at this ragdolling, it's terrifying. The character models in general are terrifying. They look so creepy and dead inside. They look like realistic voodoo dolls. Like, I don't know, you just got a doll and you just printed someone's head on it. Thankfully, you only get to see the back of the heads most of the time. There are some other characters too, like the salesman in the hotel, the priest, or the basketballer at the basketball court. And of course, there is a dog that you have the ability to kick. Yeah, I know. Furthermore, in the game's manual, most of the clients have their own name and description, which is a total overkill, and therefore I won't be focusing on it. Some stages are more fun than others, and you really need to play the game for a little bit to get a feel of the sea and where everything is, which isn't too unlike real life really. The parkour stages are the most annoying due to having imprecise movement and a pretty rubbish camera, but these stages are creative. I like the one where you have to scale a mountain by climbing this long rock formation floating in mid-air. And this is where I discovered the first glitch. Spamming the jump key while in mid-air lets you float. With every jump you lose a bit of altitude, so doing so from the highest point like I did here is the most advisable. And here we can see the whole city, or at least most of it. The game has some weird cooling points. The map is pretty small, but it doesn't hinder the gameplay. Some parts of it don't make sense though, like how there's an invisible wall at the docks, or how there's a motorway that just loops you around the city for seemingly no reason. Or this drive into the mountain where you have to turn around anyway, there's no secret other than a few coins. Some houses have full collision detection, while some only have it around the sides and not on the top, which means they can fall through the houses when you're doing the jump glitch. This game once again opts for a photorealistic art style, however, this time looks nowhere near as good as Taxi Raza. It all looks very disproportionate. Like how the textures of the buildings don't match the floor in terms of lighting, or how the bushes don't have seamless textures and are obviously flat and have different lighting to the buildings, and how the bus stop has the underground logo, implying this is all taking place in London. It really is an ugly game. For each pizza we deliver, we get money, which counts towards a high score. There are also these coins scattered around the entire map, which boosts this number too. And once again, we see Pizza Dude's face on the coin. Kimberly really is living in a man's world. Why do the coins say Tyrannosaurus Rex too and have a copyright date? I know that this is likely a stolen texture, or maybe it's just a reference to this real life coin, but I can't find any context as to why. Around this map there are constant advertisements for other Team 6 games, which makes this game feel like an interactive advertisement more than anything. The storefronts constantly repeat themselves, again making the city feel pretty lifeless. Arguably, the best thing about this game are the glitches, as they make the game feel very goofy overall. There's of course the flying jump glitch, but there's also one where if you get out of the vehicle at the gardens, your character will fall from the map. Also, sometimes your vehicle will drive off by itself, which is hilarious because then you leave the restaurant and you're like, where is my scooter? Also, cars will just randomly pile on top of each other. It's fun seeing how far you can break the game, and I really do like its open world style of gameplay and the fact there is no storyline. It's a bit like Crazy Taxi for example. It's a game where you need to get the highest score instead of being some target, which makes this game pretty easy to recommend and easy to come back to. Oh yeah, and in terms of the music, there are 2 tracks here and they're taken from Taxi Racer London too. It may seem weird that I have a whole collection of music and they've only used 2 songs, but I think this game wasn't supposed to be a mainline release. God, the video doesn't stop here. Out of boredom, I was looking at the files through a hex editor and I found some comments. This one refers to the fact there was only supposed to be the basketballer by himself, and that one of the devs had to think about how to make the scene more interesting as he found it too bare. There are a lot of comments like this, like place car in church, place 2 dogs at house. The dog is also for some reason referred to as terrorist too throughout the files. There are still references to Manhattan Chase, which confirms my theory about Taxi Raza using an in-between version of the engine, while Manhattan Chase was the basis for all other Team 6 games. In fact, the manual confirms this with Erwin de Vries being credited for the Manhattan Chase engine. This also shows us that 2 people have worked on this game, which is mad. There's something else that's interesting here though. Since shooting the last episode, I have wondered what the DF engine is about. Was that truly the Team 6 engine? Well, do any of you guys watch Fine Sauce Joel? There was a really stupid bit that he did in a game called London Taxi Rush Hour. The game had real-life advertisements for Habbo Hotel, Flash Car Cleaner, Powerade and more. Well, if you look carefully at his video, the DF engine handles these advertisements, and sure enough, all the Team 6 game ads are in a similar folder structure. This means Pizza Dude was supposed to have real-life adverts all over, which is also why the storefronts repeat themselves. I have no idea if this was ever activated, and if so, how long for? But yeah. Overall, that's it for this video. I suppose I didn't expect to have so much to say about Pizza Dude, but here we are. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you for the next one.